All right, so we're gonna show you how to use epoxy to level counters that are not level. Maybe they're sloped one way and you're not able to re-shim them. This is a really easy way to get the surfaces level before you do your decorative coat. If I put this level here and I level this, that's level right there. You can see how off these are. And so if we were to just show up, coat this, all the resin is gonna push off that side. We're not gonna have any resin to flow on the front of the face because it's gonna be going that way. These edges aren't gonna be coated. You're gonna have runs and drips, are gonna look horrible. So you're gonna have to recoat it. We need to dam up the back side. We just need something that's gonna be nice and straight. Right, we're gonna put it on the back and then we're gonna caulk the bottom edge because we won't get a tight seal here and we don't wanna lose resin down the bottom and drip a bunch and not be able to level the counter out. And so we just need to make sure we tape this whole piece up. Now, ideally, you'd want to use like a glossy tape, maybe something we use for river tables. That's going to obviously repel the resin better, but again, this will keep it from soaking into the wood. It won't soak through that tape. All you coating contractors, if you want to set your business apart and get more advanced training on decorative projects, go to LeggariAcademy.com. You're going to learn over 10 exclusive systems and be doing projects just like this. And so what Brian's doing now is he's just doing the caulking. Anywhere the resin's going to leave could find its way out, we want to caulk it. So they're finishing up and then we'll get into actual mixing and coating part next. 3P2 process, always do our 3P2 mixing process. We go over this all the time. And so what I'm doing is just dumping the Part A's in. Once I get that in, I'm gonna dump the pigments in. And what Mark's doing, he's warming up the pigments. Once everything's ready to go, we add the hardener and we do our 3P2 process. And then we're just letting these drain until they slowly drip. And so this is 100 square feet. I typically like to do our stone kit thickness when we're doing flood coats trying to level counters, which is 8 ounces per square foot. Could you do a little more, maybe 10? Absolutely. You just want to make sure you have enough. We're trying to get enough on this counter to level out the slope that's going back towards the bar and also have it some to run over and just get the face coated. So we're good here. I'm going to pop this out, cap them, add one of our pigments. This is a 3-gallon. Right, we're mixing a 3-gallon kit. You can mix that if you want. I'm just gonna add the hardener in now. And this stuff's old, so yeah, it's pretty ambered. But hey, we're not wasting products, right? Use it, save it, use it. You're gonna come across a job where you gotta do a flood coat or something. Got the brewmaster coming in. All right, so Mark will hop in, mix this. Me and Brian will get everything ready. So we want to have rollers ready. Everything we need to have ready, set up and ready to go. So once this is done, we can dump it out. What we're going to do is me and Brian will dump this, start spreading it. Mark's going to immediately start mixing up the other kit and then hand it to us and we'll get the counter coated. Always do that process, secondary mixing container. That's very vital. So next thing, we got mixed resin, never leave it in a bucket. We want to immediately pour it out on the counter. What Mark's gonna do is immediately start mixing the next kit. This thing tapers super hard. So we're gonna use most of the a decent amount of resin on this back wall, and then we won't need as much throughout the rest. But again, we want to get this as level as we can. The other thing is secondary mixing containers, buckets, we can dump that upside down, let everything drain out. Never dump a bucket upside down if you don't use a secondary mixing container. You're gonna get unmixed resin dripping off the sides. And so again, I'm just gonna start getting resin back to this edge. All right, we know this is the... Yeah, we're good, we're ready. So you can see how much I got back here. Look at how thick that is. So I'm gonna just come out a little bit and start pulling some to the face without running over. Oh, we got a leaker, dude. I just want to come back and check and see if we missed a spot with the caulking or something, which we got one here. We got two there, and we know this is the worst spot, so we don't want to just constantly lose resin there. So Brian's gonna wipe it. You got tape on here? I'm gonna wipe it, get it clean. I'm gonna stuff tape up under there and just create a seal. Yep. Oh, that ain't sticking. That ain't sticking, Brian. And then me and Brian are just gonna start fine tuning it, making sure we got the majority of it in this section to level it off. Oh, we got plenty, dude. So it's obviously gonna start dripping down the faces, so we're gonna be cautious of where we're walking, right? Stuff's gonna start flowing down the face, leveling everything out. So what we're gonna do is just take rollers, start manipulating it to where we want the resin to be, and then we're gonna rely on the self-leveling properties of it to just do its thing and level itself out. Yeah, so this is what we want to avoid. Can you pick that up, James? Yeah. It's all lumpy and chunky. We'd have to address that right before we did our decorative coat. So that's what we're trying to avoid. We're kind of mess with it for a little bit, make sure we're not getting any of those. And the next thing, when you pour product on super thick like this, you're gonna get these micro bubbles in the surface. They're gonna kind of create a haze. It's actually a really cool look. But if you get down, it's just all little micro champagne type bubbles that are creating that. So we want to mist the surface with denatured alcohol to pop those. All right, so next day, we're ripping the molding off, the dam that we created. And they already started, so you already cut all this? I did cut that. So we're just gonna pop this off. Just pull these nails out. This is the next day, so this resin's still a little soft. Kind of got a rubber feel to it, so it's not wanting to pull off as easy. But we already know that we have to buzz this edge, because there's always gonna be a little bit of a lip. So that's the top of the wood. Look how much resin we needed to add to that to level that thing out. Pretty wild. It's still a little, yeah, it's still a little off. And man, we put 6 gallons on this countertop, barely let any off the edge. and it still didn't get it completely level, but that's workable. It won't take long with the 4-inch grinder. We'll come back, we'll sand the edge down, because if you look right here, there's a lip, and then right here, so we'll have to sand that. We'll have to round these corners. So the biggest thing when you're doing faces, resin doesn't go on as thick, so those faces got to be pristine, smooth, flat, no imperfections, no holes. Fill everything, sand them smooth, run your hand across it. You're gonna feel it, an imperfection or a ridge, before you can see it. A lot of times if you just look at it, there's probably gonna be some spots that need to be sanded more. You run your hand across it, you're gonna know exactly where they're at. You can go around the counter, run your hand, have a pencil, a Sharpie, mark them out so you know exactly where they're at. We'll get going on that. Me and James are gonna head, get some final footage of another project we filmed, and we'll come back, hopefully get you guys some footage of this. But again, palm sander, diamond grinder, 4-inch cup wheel is gonna get that tape off quick. You can router the edges, you can sand the edges. We wanna just make a round edge to it so the resin can flow over that edge evenly. They're gonna Bondo everything. That dries fast, 15 minutes you can sand and pretty much get everything smoothed out, prepped, dialed in, obviously cleaned. They're gonna sand the top, get some of these ridges out, and then we'll be ready to go. So that's the next step. Okay, so got these counters dialed. Brian took the time, got these counters level as he could, and they're pretty much ready for the coating part. So we'll kind of go around and show you guys this stuff. Remember, I said we're gonna leave. He's gonna sand around all the corners, make sure all this stuff's good. So James can just kind of go around and show you the faces. So faces are nice and smooth. Like if I run my hand down here, I don't feel any ridges, no high spots, everything's smooth. Also rounded down here, so this is rounded, not square at all. Top has a nice round to it. So the material is gonna easily flow over, coat that face all around. So we always like to kind of round the bottom to just get it to curve under and start dripping off. And so sanded all the top, he's vacuumed it. What they're doing now is just put some heavier duty plastic, because we're gonna get into the pouring part and stuff. But that's pretty much it. That's the process for leveling out a counter that you're not able to move or re-shim. You have to rely on flooding epoxy to get it level. Cool process. You guys just saw it all right here.